Is Mexico, the reigning and defending two-time WBO Super Flyweight World Champion, Fernando El Cocholito Montiel.
1 second, only 1 second. Ok, caballeros, ya di la regla a los dos en el camerino. Espero una pelea limpia. Protégese en todo momento. Tóquese los guantes, suelte.
A little surprising that Montiel is a slight favorite over the #1 ranked 115-pounder. Castillo was a Mexican Olympian and actually once beat a fellow named Floyd Mayweather Jr. as an amateur when they were both about 17 years old.
I think they was about 112 pounds at that time, too, when they fought.
There's been an interesting debate around the hotel the last couple of days among boxing experts, because I think I've probably heard 10 people say, well, Montiel is the bigger puncher. And I think I've probably heard 15 people say, well, Castillo is the bigger puncher. And I've heard maybe 20 people say, well, Montiel is the better boxer. And I've heard a dozen or 15 people say, well, Castillo is the better boxer. So apparently everybody knows something about them, but no one's exactly certain where the equation falls between these two fighters.
Well, one equation is that Montiel's father, who was his trainer, deliberately elected not to go the Olympic route because he felt there was too much severe competition that a father or manager or trainer couldn't control. Well, Castillo took the Olympic route, and here they're finally meeting 12 years later after the Olympics that Castillo was in.
In Atlanta in 1996. He lost in the first round to a German fighter. Since then has had 2 losses in Japan, both of which were, he says, the result of cuts. And he wound up a year and a half ago in Los Angeles getting that kind of surgery where they open up the area above the eyelids, around the eyebrows, and scrape out bone material to create a flatter plane and limit the possibility of cuts. Emmanuel, does that surgery work?
Yes, it did. The first time I'd ever heard anyone having that was Sean O'Grady, who used to get cut off, and his father had him to have that type surgery. And recently I was told that Ricky hadn't had the same surgery. And it's
down goes Castillo on a terrific Montiel left hook.
5, 6, 7, 8. ¿Está bien?
Well, I guess we know now why Montiel has become a slight favorite over the #1 guy in the division.
And maybe we see the wisdom of him coming in with what is unofficially a 6 or 8 pound weight advantage in the ring. That was a big shot.
I don't see that, like Castillo, I don't seem like he's hurt that much from it. He sat there, he was aware of everything. He just took the count rather than jump up and lose his equilibrium like some guys do when they panic. He seems to know where he was at and everything, and so he seems to be back in the fight as if nothing had happened.
But it's a great start for Montiel. A knockdown in round 1.
Well, does that answer the question or the answers that some of the people you heard discussing the fight?
I'll have to try to remember the ones who said Montiel was the harder puncher. They might have been on to something.
I think now that Castillo's a little bit disoriented.
Round 1 is a 10-8 round for Fernando Montiel.
Well, also, Castillo has some blood trickling down the outside of his nose.
You doing good? Feeling good? Yes. Good. You gotta keep your hands up. Yeah, I know. Keep your hands up and move to the left. Don't let him build. Come on, with a lot of determination. Very good, champ. Very good, champ. You know he's gonna come out strong.
Here you see Montiel moving in and then anticipating being a jab coming. Castillo moved his right hand forward to parry off a jab, and instead it ended up turning into a left hook.
The signature punch of Mexican fighters, the left hook. Often thrown to the liver, here thrown perfectly upstairs. Montiel, 20 out of 50 punches in the first round for a very high 40% connect rate. 12 of those connects in the last minute. 10-8 round off of the knockdown on the left hook. Let's see if Castillo can get his head into the fight. Somewhere other than at the end of Montiel's punch. Left hook by Castillo, but then he falls off balance into the ropes. Right on the belt line for Montiel, and Castillo kind of pulls the trunks as if to say to Joe Cortez, did you see the low blow?
It's interesting. This fight here is different from the first fight between the other two small guys with such a big volume of punches. It's a lot of body rhythm and motion from Castillo and power punches coming in from Montiel. I mean, he's actually punching the head for a knockout. Neither one of these guys are trying to add points. They're both going for the knockout.
Well, we're a round and a half in. Montiel has knocked Castillo down with a left hook. He has scraped the front of his nose with punches in the first round, drawing a trickle of blood. And now I think there may be a small cut above the left eye of Martin Castillo. We'll wait to see between rounds, but he was pawing at it with his glove a moment ago. This is a waiting game between two guys who seem to feel like they're both big hitters.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's totally the opposite of the first. They're not going for a decision and trying to add up points. They're both going for power punches. Make almost, I'd say about 75% of their punches are power punches in this fight.
Myron, you call Castillo the #1 rated 115-pounder in the world. You're referring to the Ring Magazine ratings, is that correct?
Yes.
Those ratings may well get reshuffled after tonight.
Montiel, gives the appearance of being a surer puncher. He gets his shoulder and body into the punches.
I think he's dominated the first two rounds here and seems well on his way toward making a big impression on Martin Castillo. Next Saturday will be a special night of boxing programming here on HBO. On the East Coast, it's the premiere of the film Joe Louis, America's Hero Betrayed, followed by the live heavyweight unification fight Klitschko versus Ibragimov. On the West Coast, it's the live fight followed by the Joe Louis film. That heavyweight fight marks the first time in more than 8 years that two heavyweight fighters, both with belts, have fought each other. Which means it's been way too long.
You got him, he's caught. Come on, you've got to press him. Looks like the uppercut.